A trip to Japan with the person you love is one of the great trips of a lifetime. But here's what nobody tells you. The difference between a magical 2 weeks and an exhausting one comes down to two things: where you sleep and what you have the wisdom to skip. Get those right, and Japan unfolds like a dream. Quiet temples at dawn, a private hot spring bath under the stars, a city that somehow feels both electric and serene. Get them wrong, and you'll spend your trip crammed into the wrong neighborhood, fighting crowds at the wrong time of day, and standing in lines for things that honestly aren't worth it. So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly where to stay across Japan as a couple, and, just as importantly, what to skip. Stay with me, because the single most common where to stay mistake is one almost every first-timer makes, and it quietly costs them the best night of the whole trip. Here's how I think about a first luxury trip to Japan as a couple. You don't need 10 cities. You need 3 kinds of nights. 1. A great city base in Tokyo for the energy, the food, and the design. 2. At least one night in a traditional Ryokan, a Japanese inn with a hot spring bath, because it's the single most romantic experience in the country, and the thing people most regret skipping. And 3. A base in Kyoto for the old Japan of temples, lantern-lit lanes, and gardens. Tokyo, a Ryokan, Kyoto. For each one, I'm going to give you where to stay, the right neighborhood, and my hotel picks. And then what to skip, because curating out the overrated stuff is half of what makes a trip feel effortless. On timing, this works beautifully over 10 days to 2 weeks. A few nights in Tokyo, 1 or 2 in the Ryokan, and a few in Kyoto, with the bullet train doing the heavy lifting in between. And if you can choose, go in spring for the cherry blossoms or autumn for the leaves. Summer is hot and humid. Let's start in Tokyo. Tokyo is not one city. It's a dozen cities stitched together by trains, so the neighborhood you choose matters more than almost anywhere on Earth. My advice for couples: do not default to Shinjuku or Shibuya. They're famous, they're fun to visit, but they're loud, crowded, and they'll wear you down as a home base. Instead, stay central and calm. The Ginza, Hibiya, and Marunouchi area, right by Tokyo Station. You're walkable to beautiful shopping and dining. You're a step from the bullet train to Kyoto, and you can actually hear yourself think. For hotels, the most romantic splurge in the city is Aman Tokyo. It floats above the financial district with enormous stone-soaking tubs and a hushed, minimalist calm that feels like a sigh after the streets below. The Peninsula Tokyo on Hibiya is the polished classic with one of the best locations in the city. And if you want a view that stops conversation, the Bulgari Tokyo rooftop is proposal territory. If you'd rather something quieter and more local, the neighborhood of Ebisu is an underrated romantic choice. Calm streets, lovely little restaurants, and an easy train ride to everything. Now what to skip in Tokyo? Because this is where I save you time. Skip Tokyo Tower. It's a dated, paid climb, and the view from the free observation decks at the Metropolitan Government Building or a drink at your hotel's high bar is better and cheaper. Skip the early morning tuna auction pilgrimage the guidebooks pushed for years. The famous inner market moved to Toyosu, and for most couples, it's a long, sleepy detour. Wander the Tsukuji Outer Market for breakfast instead. It's far more fun. Skip the themed robot and animal cafes. They photograph better than they feel. And skip eating right next to the big sights. In Tokyo more than anywhere, the best meal of your life might be in a tiny 8-seat place down an alley, and it costs less than the tourist spot on the corner. The move in Tokyo is to go where the locals go and let the famous stuff be a backdrop. And one money skip that catches people out. Don't automatically buy the Japan Rail Pass. Since its big price jump, for a Tokyo, Hakone and Kyoto trip, it often costs more than simply buying the individual bullet train tickets as you go. Do the quick math for your route first. For a lot of couples, it no longer pays off. Okay, this is the mistake I promised you, and it's really 3 small ones that add up to a worse trip. The first, basing yourself in the wrong neighborhood, usually right on top of a train station because it looked convenient online, and then spending 2 weeks in a part of the city with no soul. The second, and the most painful, Skipping the Ryokan. I get why people do it. It's an extra hotel change. It seems like a hassle. But a night in a traditional inn, with a private open-air hot spring bath and a multi-course kaiseki dinner brought to your room, is the single most romantic and most Japanese thing you'll do, and almost nobody regrets it. Don't skip it. And the third, treating Japan like a checklist, going to the famous temples and the bamboo grove at noon with 10,000 other people, instead of at dawn when they're empty and magic. Fix those three. Pick the right neighborhood, build in one Ryokan night, and visit the icons early. And the whole trip transforms. Now let me show you that Ryokan. The easiest place to have your Ryokan night on a Tokyo to Kyoto trip is Hakone, a mountain hot spring town about 90 minutes from Tokyo, with views of Mount Fuji on a clear day. This is where you slow all the way down. My pick for couples is Ryokan, a former imperial family retreat that's widely considered one of the finest ryokan in the country. Book a room with its own private open-air onsen, so the two of you can soak under the sky in total privacy. If Ryokan is full, the good news is Hakone is full of beautiful ryokan, and the rule is simple. Book a room with a private bath, and choose one that includes dinner. And a quick word on what to expect, so it feels comfortable rather than intimidating. You'll change into a yukata robe. Dinner and breakfast are usually included and served course by course, and a private in-room or rentable bath means you never have to use a public one if you'd rather not. It's gentler and easier than people fear, which is part of why it's so special. Which brings me to the one thing to skip here. Do not day trip Hakone. People take a train up, ride the cable car, look at the lake, and leave, and they miss the entire point. The magic is staying the night, the kaiseki dinner, the quiet, the soak before bed, and again at sunrise. Stay over. It's the night you'll remember most. Then it's on to Kyoto. And again, the neighborhood is everything. The mistake here is staying near Kyoto Station because it's a transport hub. It's convenient and completely charmless. Instead, base yourselves in Higashiyama, the old eastern district, where lantern-lit stone lanes wind up toward Kiyomizu-dera Temple, and you can walk out your door into the most beautiful part of the city before the crowds arrive. For hotels, the Park Hyatt Kyoto sits right in Higashiyama, with views over the temple's pagoda. Location and romance in one. Amon Kyoto is the serene Splurge, hidden in a private forest on the city's northern edge, all moss gardens and silence. And for something intimate and design-forward, the Onsen, a tiny boutique in the heart of Gion, puts you in the geisha district itself. Whichever you choose, the goal is to be able to step outside at dawn or dusk and have old Kyoto almost to yourselves. And what to skip in Kyoto? First, the timing trap. The famous sights, Fushimi Inari's Red Gates, the Arashiyama Bamboo Grove, the Golden Pavilion, are genuinely stunning, but at midday, they're shoulder to shoulder. Go at sunrise and you'll have them almost to yourselves. It's the same place, a completely different experience. Second, skip the geisha spotting. The tours and tourists chasing real geiko through Gion for a photo have become a genuine problem, and the city has even closed some private alleys because of it. If you want that world, book a proper dinner or tea experience with a maiko instead. It's respectful and unforgettable. And third, resist temple fatigue. Kyoto has more than 1,000 temples, and you do not need to see them all. Pick 3 or 4 that move you, go slowly, and leave time to just sit in a garden. The couples who try to see everything in Kyoto come home remembering nothing. The ones who see less remember it forever. Quick practical note, because Japan rewards a little preparation, and I'll link the few things I'd actually pack below. First, your most comfortable walking shoes. You'll walk 15 to 20,000 steps a day easily, and Japan is a country of stairs and stations. Second, sort out your connectivity before you land. An eSIM or a pocket Wi-Fi device means you step off the plane already online for maps and translation. Third, a small light day pack for temple days, and a slim coin purse, because Japan still runs on cash and you'll accumulate a surprising pile of coins. None of it is expensive, And all of it quietly removes friction on the ground. So, Splurge versus Skip. Japan Edition. Splurge on. The Ryokan night with a private onsen. If you upgrade one thing on the whole trip, make it that. A great sushi or kaiseki dinner in each city. And one guided early morning experience at a big site to have it before the crowds. Skip. The train station hotels, the dated paid observation towers, the themed cafes, and the urge to add a fourth and fifth city. As always, the goal isn't to do the most. It's to spend your money and your mornings on the handful of things that actually make Japan feel like Japan. So there's your map. 3 kinds of nights. A calm, central base in Tokyo. Think Ginza or Hibiya, not Shinjuku. At least one night in a ryokan, ideally in Hakone, with a private hot spring bath and dinner in your room. And a base in Kyoto's Higashiyama, so old Japan is right outside your door. Stay in the right neighborhoods, build in that Ryokan night, hit the icons at dawn, and skip the overrated rest. And Japan goes from overwhelming to unforgettable. Every hotel and everything I mentioned is linked in the description, so you can start planning. If this made Japan feel doable, subscribe. I make one of these every week for busy couples who want the right plan, not 100 browser tabs. And tell me in the comments, Tokyo, a Ryokan, or Kyoto? Which are you most excited for? I'll see you in the next one.